Yeah.
Hello guys and welcome to my channel Snowhawk. In this channel I will be teaching you how to use Blender to make 3D stuff. So for first, what is Blender? Blender is a free software developed by a large community of people to help us make 3D objects, 3D scenes, animations, rendering, and much more than that. So here is the general look of the application when you open it up. I have in here an empty scene, and this is the space of the app. This is the space of the scene that you are using. So at first you might think it's an overwhelming app to use, and yes it is, but we'll be learning it slowly, and so we can progress faster and better than others. You see here we have the tabs that we can use in Blender. So here the layout tab, it's the general tab that we can use to see the general space of the scene and what there are objects that we can add and delete objects and more of that. Here you can see the scene collection, which you can see the name of the objects you have, the layout of them, and more than that. And here you can see the settings of the scene. Moving on with the tabs, we have the modeling tab, which we can use to redefine the shape, move its vertices, its edges and faces. Sculpting, which we can use to sculpt the object to our liking. Like for example, I can grab this and sculpt on it, but it has so many less vertices that we can use. The UV editing and more tabs that we will learn about in more upcoming videos. You see here when you start, let me delete just this cube. You see here when you start with an empty scene, you have three objects that always in an empty scene, which is the cube, the camera, and the light. So here, if I want to, let's say, move in this space, what I can do, I can go to the right up corner in here. Let me just draw on it. So here you can see I can go to here, and with my using left click on my mouse, I can just click on it and turn around in the space. Let's say I want to move my view. I go to this hand and I click on it and I move my view. If I want to zoom, I go to this zoom and I go in and go out, go in and go out. Using these tools you can pretty much move easy in this space. So of course there are hotkeys for this, so you don't hover up with the mouse every time you want to use them and go back, and we'll learn them on the way. Now here, let's say I want to select this object specifically. So I go with my mouse, click on it with the left click, and you see it will light up on the edges of the object with orange color. So I want to select the light, so I go to it and I select it with left click, and the camera I select it. Let's say I want to deselect, I go or any other free space in the scene and press on it and it will deselect automatically. So now we learn how to select object. Now let's see how to select multiple objects. So I go to one of them and I select, let's say for example the cube, and shift select the other, and I selected two of them. You can see by lighting on the edges. And now I can select the camera and I have selected the three of them. So clicking in the free space you can deselect all of them. You can see on here we have on the left top corner on the view we have some tools which we can use. For example, the one that I'm using right now is the move tool. So you see if I click on the cube, I have 3 axes enabled, which is the x-axis with red color, the y-axis with the green color, and the z-axis with the blue color. So you see, if I click on one of them and I drag my mouse, I shall move the object. So you see here I moved it on the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. To undo what I have done, if I don't like what I done, you can just press Ctrl Z like any other app, and it will come back and undo what you have done. Cool. Now let's say I want to rotate this object. You go to other tool which is called rotate and select it. You see the view has changed. Now I want to say specifically I want to rotate it on the y-axis, so I grab this green one and rotate it. And if I leave the left click, it will just apply the rotation. Ctrl Z to undo what I've done. Now we learn to move and to rotate. Now we are gonna learn how to scale it. Going to the scale tool, I will just click on one of them, or let's say the Z1, and now I have scaled on the Z-axis. You can see in the left top corner some numbers are appearing, which is telling me specifically how much I have scaled it. Now I have scaled it 2.5 times on the global view, which is what it was scaled multiplied by 2.5 times. We will get into details more on tutorials. Now Ctrl Z to undo what we have done. In here, let's say I don't like this cube, which many Blender users do when they open new file. You go to this cube and you want to delete it. It's easy, you just click on the delete option on the keyboard, or you can just say X and it will ask you to confirm the delete. You just enter and it will delete. It's the same for any other object. It's for the light. Let's see, I deleted the lights, the camera, the cube. Now I'm left with an empty scene and I don't have anything to work with. So let's add an object. You just Shift A, which is the hotkey for add, or go here and select add, and you have so many objects to work with. I will just work now with a mesh object, which is the object that we can see in the scene with our eyes. The other ones I will tell you about in the other lessons. So in the mesh object I will add a UV sphere, for example. So UV sphere, it's like the cube, but it has more edges and it's just more rounded than the cube, which we can say all the faces in it has 4 sides, which is good. You always have to maintain 4 sides in every object. So going into the modeling tab with my mouse, you can see that every 3D object is consisting of 3 things, which is the vertex, it's the point that we can move, and the edge. The edge is the line between every 2 vertices, and the face. The face which is the image that's created by every 3 vertices or more. You can see you can create a face using 3 vertices, which is the limit. Now that we learn this stuff, this will be the end of the number 1 lesson. Thank you for watching.